So this is Amritsar. There are two main things you must do whilst you're here. The first one is visiting the Golden Temple, particularly at sunset or the dusk period, because the golden light makes it look beautiful, and you must have your head covered and shoes off when you go in. And the second, the beating retreat on the Waga border between Pakistan and India. It's the flag lowering ceremony.
Australia and New Zealand should do this.
It's a must see. But first, let's check out the Golden Temple. So we're just following the walking procession of everybody else in the street towards the Golden Temple. Shoes and socks come off. It's important that we come in and wash our hands. A guard with a big spear just came over and told us we needed to sit with our legs folded. So we've adjusted our seating stance. So a local person came up and told us that Amritsar, which is the name of this town and also where we are right now, means nectar, or that the water is like nectar. Around a lot of holy places there are like a body of water, and that's what you use to bless yourself or heal yourself. And that's why there's a lot of people who come and swim or drink in this body of water around this holy place, and there's also a lot of people who are disabled in this town, and then they come here and they have access to the nectar, the holy water. I'm going to do it. I'm going to hop in and have a holy dip. Let's do it.
The Golden Temple has the world's largest free community kitchen in the world. They feed 100,000 people each day.
Whoa.
Just constantly feeding them and mainly being fed by volunteers.
A last minute swap. Instead of eating, Kate's over here helping. And there is a very long line of people waiting to get in. So we decided to just look at it from the outside. I think the most enjoyable things that I've found from India so far are the places that we can go and actually be still and be present and actually observe and not just be like super touristy, but actually, yes, take photos and things, but also just reflect and be as involved as possible.
When I mentioned that I was coming to Amritsar, a lot of people online said, oh my goodness, I love that place. It was the kindest, most kind of like, yeah, sweethearted place, and I feel like we've experienced that. Everyone is just so, like, so kind. Just send us safe travels, wishes and blessings. I don't feel like this place is wanting anything from me. They're just really grateful to just exist together and around us, and yeah, it's been so enjoyable to feel that peace rather than that kind of tugging and exhaustion that India can bring in other areas.
So really, it's a minimum of 2 nights you want to spend in Amritsar. Because on one of the nights you need to go to the Golden Temple, because obviously at the sunset Golden Temple, golden hour, it lights up. That was beautiful. And also you want to go, well, the only time the beating retreat is on is in the evening. So that's at least 2 nights you need to spend here to get at least this much experience. But you must check out the bazaar, just walk around it, and also just the street life.
You're very good.
And it's only a 9-minute walk to Gurdwara Darbar, which is a highly recommended restaurant that you can go to after visiting the Golden Temple. This has come highly recommended. Apparently this is the best on the menu.
And it's enough for 2 people, and it's about $3.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money. When he put this down, he crunched it up with both of his hands, so that must be customary. So we're here because one of Kate's followers said that she watched an Anthony Bourdain film, and he came here and suggested this meal. So
And they went there.
And they went there and they said it was great. So now we're eating authentic food.
And confirmed, it is good. And so cheap.
And this is the beating retreat. This guy's good. We've got to support the home nation, right? Ever since I heard about this, I've been really excited for it. It feels like I'm going to a sports game. Every evening, just before sunset, huge crowds gather as the soldiers from Pakistan and India meet to engage in a 13-minute display of military camaraderie and showmanship. It's held on the Attari/Waga border between India and Pakistan. It's the flag lowering ceremony at the end of the day. Women are now taking a more leading role in this ceremony. In India, women are invited to carry the flag, dance and shout. To me, it seems like a one-upmanship, where India proudly displays the liberation of their women in the face of a much more intolerant Pakistan. In 2003, both countries integrated women into this ritual to help de-escalate the aggressive energy and rising tensions between both countries. The tensions were coming from both the soldiers and the crowds. I think a little less testosterone helps in a situation like this one. They even have a hype man getting the crowd pumped up. This is a daily display both countries have followed since 1959, even during periods of active warfare between them. This may feel festive, but it's no joke. It's sophisticated cultural diplomacy in action. There are patriotic slogans chanted by the crowds. You can really feel the atmosphere around you. It's thick. It's truly patriotic. To me, this ritual seems like it's multiple things wrapped up into one. It seems to be a healthier way of countries processing their angst and frustrations and tensions with one another. And they funnel it through this highly choreographed, colourful kind of tap dance. It's like a dance-off. It's useful, productive, symbolic, and great to attend. India and Pakistan have different uniforms and different cultures, but they very much feel like different sides of the same coin. Both sides are synchronized as the soldiers perform the goose step, which is the leg swinging march and stomp that they do. They wear metal shoes to enhance the sound as well. Both sides hurl insults at one another, they posture, they gesture, they pose, all while the crowds on both sides go absolutely wild. Good flexibility. Yeah! He does yoga.
Australia and New Zealand should do this, so we can fight over instead of who won the war, who made the pavlova.
Well, we made the pavlova. Obviously. We'll settle that now. A bit of historical context for you. A beating retreat is actually a military ceremony dating back to the 17th century in England. It was first used to recall nearby patrolling units to their castle or barracks at the end of the day. But what we see here has clearly evolved into a highly choreographed ritual. To me, it seems like a giant "we're better than you" competition, and I couldn't help but be reminded of an exotic bird of sorts from a David Attenborough documentary. They shout, give violent gestures, and twirl their moustaches at one another. With lots of colour and pomp, it's brilliant. Flags are lowered in a very slow and deliberate way. And then they shake hands, which is really important and can't be overlooked. This is one of the biggest diffusing gestures both sides can do. Then the gates are closed. Nobody's crossing the border until tomorrow morning. Then at the end, people line up for photos with the people with the big hats. Yeah, they're like celebrities. That was awesome. Ultimately, it is all about keeping the peace.
this was easily one of the most memorable experiences I've had in India so far. It's a must-do.
Admittedly, Amritsar's a little bit out of the way, off the beaten path, but it's totally worth at least a 2-day visit.
Alright, here's my $1 million question. If you only had one day in Amritsar, would you rather go to the Golden Temple or the Beating Retreat? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.